President-elect Donald Trump was sentenced in his New York Trump case. We are going to be having the details, and we'll be speaking with a criminal defense attorney to find out the very latest. Good morning, San Diego. 7 a.m. hour starts right now.
This is Good Morning San Diego.
It happened just moments ago. President-elect Donald Trump was formally sentenced in his New York bookkeeping case, but the judge has declined to impose any punishment. No fine, no time. Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj joins us now to discuss what is happening in the courtroom. The timeline is the Supreme Court last night, and I guess would be a very quick appeal, they decided not to stay. The two Republican-appointed judges, Roberts and Coney Barrett, did not side with the Republicans or with the conservative side of the court, allowing Judge Merchan, whatever his name is pronounced, to give the sentence. Now, his political opponents have exactly what they wanted. They now can put a convicted felon next to Donald Trump's name.
Well, that's right. But, you know, his political opponents really, as we've talked many times, want our president to be in jail. So they didn't get everything they wanted here.
Well, yeah, if there's no fine, no time, then excuse my French, but what the hell were we doing? I mean, if this was deemed a slap on the wrist situation, then why did we have to spend the millions of dollars and the millions of hours watching all this?
You know, if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, well, you know that it probably is a duck. And it was a dog and pony show in this trial, and it was quite a biased jury pool beyond any kind of a legal analysis or practical knowledge. But this is actually a good thing for President Trump, because now it allows his team to explore the appellate issues that are ripe in this case. Let's not forget, during the pendency of the case from conviction to today's date of sentencing, the United States Supreme Court and federal courts around the nation, including District Court in Florida, have said, we now know what immunity means. These are the four corners of what immunity should be honored as far as a presidential immunity goes. And the reason why that applies in this case is there was some evidence in this case that was presented. You call it a bookkeeping felony, and that's very accurate. It was how things were categorized. But there were aides that testified, presidential aides, regarding conversations that occurred with now President Trump. And what happened was that evidence was put in front of the jury. Well, if you look at the four corners of the United States Supreme Court's decision, that information was immunized. That should not have been presented to the fact finder. So now it allows these issues to go in front of the New York Appellate Court.
So then basically the Supreme Court ruled against its own immunity ruling of a month ago. I mean, help me understand that a little bit better.
Yes, I would not consider this to be an appeal. This was an emergency application to stay the proceedings. This is not an opportunity for the Supreme Court to go through the legal defenses or the appellate issues. It was simply, it is not right. There's good cause to prohibit this sentencing from going forward. In the very quick and concise decision by the Supreme Court said very clearly there isn't really much prejudice here, because the court is going to give him an unconditional discharge, basically a slap on the wrist and a symbolic conviction with no prohibition, and he can now address these issues on appeal.
All right, and so will this end up in front of the Supreme Court again?
I believe so, absolutely. I don't see a way that it cannot, unless the government on the other side says, and this would be New York's attorneys, say, you know what, we're throwing in the towel. We agree with the definition on presidential immunity, and that evidence should not have been in front of the jury. That's a hard sell.
But does then the conviction, does the title convicted felon stand then if the New York does that?
If New York pulls back and says, we agree with now President Trump, the conviction is gone.
It's tossed. Explain to me something. There wasn't a microphone in the courtroom for the entire trial, but then there was for the announcement here. That seems political.
Well, the whole case seems political now, doesn't it? What should have happened in this case is transparency, allowing the public to be fully informed as to what each witness said, what the arguments by the attorneys. But as you said, there was a muzzle not only on President Trump, but also on the case itself. The public had no idea what was going on in that case, other than pundits pontificating about it. So now to say, well, hey, you're a convicted felon, the gavel has dropped, gives a lot of ammunition to people that really don't want the president to be as effective as he can and will be.
How concerned are you, as we wrap this up, about the... Listen, I'm not even a Trump supporter, but I saw what was being done to him was unfair, and if it was a politician on the other side of the aisle, I'd be saying the exact same thing. I'm concerned about the legal system used as being weaponized. Do you share that concern?
Absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, I've been a defense attorney federally throughout the United States and in California and the state of Texas, actually, for almost 24 years now. And this case is not about Trump. This case is about any citizen who's facing a punishment, facing a prosecution that is really pushed because of political bias. It's something that leads every prosecutor and defense attorney to have many sleepless nights. This is a heartache for the judicial system in the United States, but it will get straightened out.
Yeah, I mean, say it was a guy like me, I wouldn't have the legal means to fight it. I would just have to take my lumps and move on, right?
You wouldn't have an unconditional discharge.
Yeah.
You'd be in custody with 34 felonies. You're in a different ballgame. That's right.
Vic, thank you so much for rolling in, okay?
It's always my pleasure, Paul. Thank you.